Well, and then life happens, and life puts so many demands on a person that it's like, you're trying to keep up with what demands are put on you, that you tend to forget the things that are important.
Welcome to The Dream Show, where each episode I sit down with someone just like you
I'm in a current phase of pushing myself to do things.
to decode the meaning behind your dreams and explore their connection with trauma, healing, and the subconscious mind.
I do like to watch and see where the dream takes me.
My name is Jesse Lyon, your host, a licensed counselor, certified trauma hypnotherapist, and a dream interpreter. So whether it's a nightmare,
I don't know why, but I knew that he was talking about me. And he comes storming up to the door. And I remember him shouting, "Where is my son?"
a bizarre scene, or something too weird to even describe,
It was so traumatic for me, literally, I have blocked all but this memory.
we dive in and learn to listen to the messages that your mind is trying to tell you. Let's jump into it. So I just want you to feel comfortable. That's great. Okay, any other questions for me before we get started?
Yes, you look really young. How long have you been doing this?
So I have been helping people with their mental health for over 10 years, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah, and maybe that's a great place to start the show for those who might not know. So yeah, I do look pretty young. Thank you. My wife does tell me to keep moisturizer on my face, so I try my best.
That definitely helps.
That definitely helps. I also am relatively hairless, so I've got those boyish looks because my genes don't grow a lot of hairy face.
Yeah.
I actually grow this out just so I can look a little bit older.
Might need to grow a little bit more.
Yeah, you're probably right. But I'm 32. I'm 32 years old. I have been working as a counselor since 2014, so over 10 years as a counselor. I was a behavioral assistant working with children in the autism spectrum with their behaviors and stuff. Even before that, my journey into the mental health field is pretty unique. I was homeschooled growing up, kindergarten through 12th grade. When I say homeschooled, I mean homeschooled. So my mom taught us. Shout out to my mom. She's incredible. Nice. She's like the only female engineer that was working at Martin Marietta before it became Lockheed Martin. She's an electrical engineer. So man, tell you what, when it comes to math and science, my mom, she's got it. She made sure we knew that too. We learned our math and science well. But it was popular in the homeschool community that we were a part of, even though, we were home. We learned from home Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
But it was popular to start college early. So I started college in 11th grade and got my bachelor's through an accelerated distance learning program. So I had my full bachelor's degree by just around my 19th birthday. So I was just turning 19 years old. And then I went and interviewed for my master's degree because I knew at a very early age I wanted to be a counselor. And so I started grad school, which was the first time I had ever stepped foot into a brick and mortar school. Was in graduate school at 19 years old. They almost didn't let me in, but shout out to Dr. David Lawson, who did my interview and said, "Jesse, you're really young." And we talked a long time about whether we should let you into the program or not. But we decided to let you in because we talked amongst ourselves and we believed if you worked this hard to get here, that you would work that hard through graduate school and you would make a great counselor. And so I've told him ever since then, I'm really grateful that they gave me a chance. And so now I own Lyon Counseling. We've got over 25 people in the company. We've got locations all across Central Florida, Winter Park, Wekiva Springs, Daytona Beach, downtown Orlando.
Wow.
We're just trying to make the world a better place by helping people appreciate their minds, and big emphasis for me on the subconscious and recognizing that your mind's not against you. It's just misunderstood. And there's some tools to interpret those words, specifically dreams and hypnotherapy. And we do a lot with trauma. And integrating the subconscious into trauma is important.
I definitely admire what you do. I admire all counselors. I was in counseling for a long time. And when I finally found the counselor that I fit with, I stayed with him till he passed away. And that was just a little over a year ago. And he helped me a lot. And like I say, I admire what you guys do. It's not easy. It's not easy sometimes. But it's it's got to be fulfilling, definitely, for sure. I would think.
Yeah, it really is. It's, I was talking with somebody just the other day about some of that. Like, it's very fulfilling to work with somebody's story, but at the same time, it can be tough because I'm not directly able to change anything. Like, if I was working with a car engine, I could see what's broken and I could put my hands on it and fix it. But when it comes to a person, I'm only there to help provide the steps. I can't actually do the work myself. And so that can be humbling because I'm not the one who's actually doing the change, it's you. But then also it can be tough sometimes because you have to learn to be patient and follow a person's pace on their own journey. But at the
Right.
same time, the thing that I always say is probably the biggest reason I appreciate counseling is I get such an incredible perspective. By listening to people's stories and specifically the worst parts of their life, I get such a perspective for the human experience and an appreciation for the things that I do have that I might easily take for granted. And so that means a lot to me. And I have to thank every client that I've ever worked with, and, soon to hear your story too. And so you as well, for the perspective that you provide me on just what it means to be alive and a human being.
Yep. It's
Yeah.
definitely a lot we take for granted as people.
It's easy, we can only
Yeah.
think about so many things at one time. And so some of that
Well,
stuff
then
gets
and then life
automatic.
happens, and life puts so many demands on a person that it's like, you're trying to keep up with what demands are put on you, that you tend to forget the things that are important.
Yeah. Easy to do.
And it's
Well, and so
I
as
try
we get
I
into
try I
yeah, go
try
ahead.
not to do that, but sometimes I catch myself. I'm like, wait, I need to slow down,
Mm.
and so
Yeah, we all do that. We all
yeah.
do that. The beauty is in being humble enough to recognize, like, oh, let me slow down again and remind myself again of what's important.
Yep.
That's key.
Yep.
Well, Melissa, as we jump into this thing, I want to take a moment to shout out somebody that you know and have already met. Thank you to Julie and
Thank you, Julie.
her, TikTok and YouTube account, Empowering Me. Links will be in the description down below. Julie does all of our pre-show interviews and has met with Melissa to kind of hear a little bit of your story and make sure you're a good fit for the show. And so I just want to thank Julie so much for doing that. She's got an amazing page about supporting those who need to share their story. Usually trauma survivors who need to release that story into the world and finally start living their authentic selves. And Julie helps people do that. And so grateful to her. You can see the natural partnership between our businesses, and she's been a long time follower of the channel.
Yeah, she's
So thank you.
wonderful.
Check her out. Yeah, that's great. Well, Melissa, so for you, maybe let's start just briefly, like, maybe how old are you? What part of the world do you live in, generally speaking? Just tell me a little about yourself.
All right. Well, I'm Melissa. I am 46 years old. I live in a very, very tiny town. Maybe 250 people live here.
Oh, that's very small. Wow.
Yeah. And
What part of the world do you mind saying?
New Mexico.
New Mexico. Okay, very
Mhm.
cool. Very cool.
Yep. And
Mhm.
but I like it. I like it here. Everybody knows everybody. It's a place where you're able to slow down and enjoy the little things. So that's why I like it here. It's not so fast paced. And I get to enjoy the things in my life a lot more without being so stressed out about it.
Wow, that's cool. That's very different from Orlando, Florida, where I live.
For
Big
sure.
city.
Yeah. Cause I used to live in
Yeah.
Dallas, and it's
Oh,
definitely a big, different pace.
yeah, you get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so when did you move to the New Mexico area?
Well, I was raised here. I was born in Colorado, and I
Okay.
was raised in New Mexico. And when I turned 22, I moved to Dallas with my fiance, and we were
Mhm.
there. We got married, everything, did the whole family thing. We were there for 14 years.
Okay.
Unfortunately, our marriage didn't work out, and
Okay.
some unfortunate circumstances I got myself into led me back home. So,
Got you.
yeah. And I've been
Yeah.
here been back home since 2014.
2014.
Yeah, right
Okay.
after
Yeah.
my
So
dad passed.
yeah. Oh, sorry about your dad too. But you've been
That's
back in New Mexico for a while then.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that sounds good. You said kids?
Yes, I have four.
Yeah, four. Hey, nice. I'm the oldest
Yeah.
of four. I feel you.
Oh, are you?
Yeah. Again, shout out to my mother. Phew, raising four kids and homeschooling them all. Man, to
Yeah,
all the
that's.
mothers out there. You too, Melissa. That's no
Thank you.
small task.
No,
Appreciate
it's
you.
not. But it's definitely fulfilling, though. Definitely is.
It is. It is. Yeah, and I've got my toddler now. Just the one for now, but excited to have more later. But yeah, I tell you what, it changes
Good.
you.
Yeah, boy or girl?
Little boy, little boy.
Oh,
Yeah, he's 2.5.
how cute. Oh, he's still way
Oh,
little. He's at that
I
fun
know.
stage, though.
He just a wee little thing, man. He's great. I mean, he's a big boy, but he's he's getting his imagination now, right? He's all into
Hmm.
Spider-Man. He thinks Spider-Man's the coolest. And I'm like, yes. Yeah. So
That's good. Yeah,
yeah,
they're
that's
definitely
awesome.
fun at that age. They'll keep you on your toes.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So when did you get interested in dreams? And when did you find out about my page and the little community we have here on the internet?
I I've always been interested in my dreams ever since I was probably, I'd say, middle school.
Mm,
When you start getting all your friends and becoming a part of a certain group of kids, and you're wanting to just do all the fun things that when life starts to happen for you as at that age. And so
yeah.
I would start, because like I was never one to like get what I want. I had to go and get what I wanted. I had to work for what I wanted. It
Mm.
wasn't something that anything was ever handed to me. So how I would try to manifest that in my dreams is what I would do.
Oh,
So
so
that's
I
where it
mean,
all started. Yeah.
you've been connected with your dreams for quite some time, like using
Yes.
it. Oh, so does that lend itself to lucid dreaming for you? Like you're kind of
Yes.
aware that it's a dream state and you can manifest things. Tell me
Yes.
about your experience with that. It's very unique.
When I first figured that I could do that, I was, I think,
Yeah.
of like a freshman, sophomore in high school.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, there was, and it's funny because there was a boy that I liked, and I didn't wasn't sure if he even knew I existed. So I used to try to manifest him liking me, it also,
Sure. Yeah.
and it worked. And so so I started like just continuing to try to do in stuff that I wanted throughout life. Like that's how I would do it, instead of like, because I don't know, I have no clue how to meditate, but
Mm.
to get myself in the lucid dream state, it was easy for me. So that's how
Mm.
for me it worked. I don't know if it's a thing or if that's really, but for me it worked.
Oh,
So
absolutely a thing, Melissa. Yeah, yeah. In fact, it's so much a thing that it's often a forgotten part of yoga. So there is a whole side of yoga called dream yoga, very big in Tibet. And so, I mean, we have documents showing Tibetan dream yoga like for ancient times, like long, long ago. And then even in ancient Egypt, they used to have what they called sleep temples. And so you would go and participate in a ceremony with the priest there, and then they would usher you into a sleep chamber where you would fall asleep and you would have a dream that solved the ailment or the problem that you were facing. So, I mean, what you're talking about, like using dreams to process, manifest, and overcome different challenges, has been a huge part of like human history for thousands and thousands of years. So, no, yeah, you actually may be onto something intuitively about being a human.
yeah.
That far predates anything that we're doing today.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And for me, that just my dreams are like my safe place, I guess you can say. I mean, sometimes I have scary dreams, but
yeah.
I usually tend to wake myself up. If not, I'm moaning enough where somebody will wake me up.
Sure,
So,
sure.
but it's not very
Whoa.
often that I have those.
Well, and I'll say it's not very often that I meet somebody who has a positive relationship with their dreams. I think the nature of the work that I do, most people have traumatic nightmares, and that's why they're drawn to my page. So to hear somebody who is like, oh, I love my dreams, they're my safe place.
Yeah.
Most of the people that I meet would not say that dreams are their safe place. They're usually a place of horror. But it's different for you. Am I
Yeah.
understanding that right?
Yes. Yeah. I definitely used my dreams to help heal through some stuff.
Mm.
That's like with my dad passing away, I I would use my dreams to hopefully see him. you know, because I was unable to be there. I was at his funeral, but I was unable to be there when he actually passed. And me and my
Okay.
dad were very, very close. So yeah, I
That's
definitely,
tough.
my dreams definitely helped me with that. And that's actually one of my dreams I wanted to ask you about. Was really
Yeah.
good.
Well, awesome. I'm excited to get into it. My last question before I want to hear your dream story is, what's the relationship of spirituality to your dreams? You know, on my channel, I tend to be pretty analytical, scientific about things, only because I'm not trained as a pastor or spiritual leader. You know, I'm first and foremost science, and then certified under the Department of Health. So I try and stay in my lane. I'll tell you what the science says, and I'll tell you what we know from healthcare. I leave the spirituality up to each individual, and
Right.
I think that's a respectful way to do things. So I'm curious for your own sort of connection
And
spiritually to the dream realm.
I think you're right, as far as leaving it up to each individual, because each
Yeah,
individual sees their dreams differently. So whether they see it as a place where they can, you know, spirituality, because to me, when I think of spirituality, it's things of to help, you know, your inner self. And
yeah,
so I definitely think for me, yes, it's definitely spiritual because, like I said, I use my dreams to hopefully, you know, what I need taken care of for my own personal mental health.
mm,
I use my dreams to help me solve those things. Because sometimes that's all you have. Sometimes you don't have anybody to talk to. There was a time I went through where I had nobody to talk to. It was before I found the counselor that I talked to, and so I would use my dreams. And sometimes I couldn't
uh,
wait to go to bed at night. You know, I'd go to bed extra early just that way I could go start dreaming. You know, and hopefully, you know, fix what I needed fixed or see who I wanted to see or, you know.
yeah. So when you talk about the spirituality side of things, do you believe that outside forces or influence enter into your dreams, like dreaming about your dad? Like, do you believe that that's his spirit, or do you believe that, you know, some kind of spiritual force is guiding you towards healing, or is that more of an internal process for you? It's like, no, I'm just going into myself and solving problems in the
Um,
subconscious.
I think it's more of because it's pretty much I already know what I need to do or what needs to
Okay.
be done, and so being subconsciously that I know that when I go into my dreams, it's like um, it's almost like it tells me. It's hard to explain, almost like in a different. You have to learn how to like read them because it'll
Yeah.
tell
Well,
you, but like in a different form, if that makes
yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Almost
Added
like,
perspective.
yeah, almost like your psychics, sometimes they'll see a vision, but it's distorted.
Mm,
But it,
yeah.
you know, it could be about somebody, but in the vision, they picture somebody else, but it's actually about, you know, this person and it fits, you
Good
know,
point.
kind of like that. That's kind of like
Yeah.
how they are.
Good point. Good point. Okay, well then, Melissa, take it away. What's this dream that you've got for us today? You said there might be a couple, but we'll start with the most pertinent one first, and yeah,
Okay.
see how they all relate.
Um,
Yeah.
well, right after when my dad passed away, I was going through some legal problems in Texas. I was still living in Texas.
Okay.
Um, I was trying to get back to New Mexico. I was unable to, and I get a phone call from my mom. And I knew my dad was sick. He was only 62, well, about to turn 62.
Oh
So
yeah,
he was still fairly
not
young, yeah.
terribly old. Yeah.
And so when I get a phone call that it's an emergency or a message that I needed to call my mom because there was an emergency, I had a feeling it had to do with my dad, but I just assumed that he was back in the hospital, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
that is nothing. That is not the furthest thought from my head was that he had passed away. And so
Oh,
when I
that was
was,
the call.
yeah, he had passed away, and the night before, and at that time in my life, the legal problems I was going through, you know, I didn't have my kids with me, so I, um, the partner I was with was not a very healthy one, and so
Mm,
I was pretty much alone. I didn't have any family. I have no family in Texas or anything. All my family was, you know, 12 hours away in New Mexico. So I was going through that by myself. My dad's death. Well, I started having dreams, and and I oh, for a long time I felt so bad because I wasn't there when he passed. And for the longest time I would have a dream, and in my dream it'd be the same dream. We'd be like in a store setting, like a Home Depot or something like that. And my dad would be walking ahead of me
Like
like really fast.
specifically like home improvement store, or would it be like a
Yes, it
Walmart
was.
sometimes?
Yeah, it was always a Harbor Freight or a Home Depot or something like that. Those
Okay.
are always the only stores I usually ever went
Okay.
with my dad
That's
to.
key. Got you.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
So it was, and he'd be walking really fast ahead of me, and it was like in my dream, no matter how much faster I would walk, I just could not catch up with him, and I would keep telling him, "Dad, wait, Dad, wait," and then I would turn a corner and I couldn't see him anymore. He would be gone, and that's when I would wake up. And I had that dream over and over for not every night, but just sporadically, for a few years. And then finally, in one of the dreams, I caught up to him, and we were stopped,
Oh.
and we were talking to some other men, I guess some friends of
Oh.
his or whatever. We were standing there in the hardware store, just having a conversation, and we were all laughing and everything. But I find, and after that dream, when I was finally able to catch up with him and talk with him and stuff, I stopped having that dream. I haven't had it since.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's powerful. I'm just thinking of that feeling of like trying to catch up with him, and then you turn the corner and he's gone. Like, oh,
Yeah.
sounds like every morning waking up with heartbreak all over again.
Yes, it
Oh,
was.
yeah. Do you have any personal connection to the dream? Like, I'm sure you've thought about it. You're pretty intuitive with dreams. What sort of sense have you made of it already, and what specific questions do you have?
Um, I think it was because the guilt that I carried for not being there when he passed away, because um,
Yeah.
that's all he wanted for a long time, was for me to come back home.
Okay.
And I was unable to make it before he passed, and then not being able to say my goodbyes to him and stuff. But I think the guilt is what was having me cause that dream, telling me, it's
Yeah.
okay. You don't need to hold on to that guilt. You don't need to, you know. And
And I
so,
might be reading between the lines a little bit, but it almost seems as though some of the obstacles for you being back with your father during his passing were some of the personal legal troubles you're going through.
yeah,
Is that fair? So it does feel
yes,
even more like, well, sometimes life happens and you just can't
yeah,
make it there in time. And, you're trying your best, but, some of the legal troubles, well, now I feel even more guilty because, well, it's the consequences of my actions that put up an obstacle for me being with my father, which was the last kind of wish that he had on this earth.
yeah.
Am I getting it right?
Yes, you hit the
Yeah.
nail on the head. Yeah,
I'm sorry, Melissa.
yeah,
It's tough. Well, that's a lot of weight. It's a lot of weight.
yeah.
And
And
so, go ahead.
I think the when I finally caught up with him, that last dream that I had, I think it was him telling me it's okay, and that, he was telling me his goodbye and it was time to let him go. And I felt better after that. I felt better after that
Yeah.
because he knew that I tried, you know.
Yeah.
And like I said, I haven't had that dream since then
Mm.
at all.
What do you think it was that he told you that allowed you to forgive yourself?
It wasn't what he told me. It was what he used to tell me when he was alive. And the look he gave me in that dream was the same look he would give me when he would tell me. My dad used to tell me all the time, even when I was being bad,
Yeah.
how proud he was of me. He told me
Wow.
all the time he was proud of me.
Wow.
And so,
Yeah. Well, I mean,
so
it sounds like it doesn't need too much interpretation. I mean, there's an obvious connection between your dad, you're processing grief. So that's pretty straightforward. There's also the hardware store, which is something that you emotionally and psychologically connect with your father.
mhm,
You're trying to run and move as fast as you can through the store to catch up with him as he's leaving,
yeah,
which is an obvious metaphor for his passing. And so you're chasing after him. And then the guilt makes you chase harder and harder until one day you remember what it is that he told you, and you have this meeting with him in the hardware store. There's other people there too, and so there's this sense of community and him, and he doesn't even necessarily need to say it verbally, but he gives you
Yep.
that look that he's proud of you. And I think what I'm struck by is he's proud of you for not just the works that you do, but for the person that you are. And so I don't know, I don't think you need much help with the interpretation, like literally, but perhaps the additional thought that I'll add for us to discuss today then is his pride in you was not for what you did, but for who you are, which may be the deepest part of that message. I think a lot of times we can be proud of ourselves for the things that we've accomplished, but not actually proud of ourselves for just being ourselves. It's always attached to works or conditional love. And it was this reminder that the part of you that your dad left with you, which I think is what grief dreams are all about. Like, I think we see those loved ones that we've lost as a reminder for the identity of them that lives inside of us after they've gone. And perhaps the identity and the message that was left with you is you don't have to just be proud of yourself for the things that you've done, but you could be proud of yourself for the person you are.
Yep.
That's what he taught you.
Because he always was proud of me. Just I just had to be me, and he was proud.
Yeah. Did something happen at that time in your life when you had that last dream where you did meet with him, where you learned that lesson, like perhaps in your waking life? Did something change? Because, you have this dream many times until there's one day it changes, and one singular dream, you never have it again. I'm so curious for what might have been happening in your life at that time that would have brought all this together.
I think it had to do with my son, because when I was going through the legal problems, I had to CYFD took my kids, CPS. I don't know what you guys call it there, but I had to
we call it
fight
CPS here. Yeah.
Or, okay, CPS. Well, they
DCF,
took my
Department
kids.
of Children and Families. That's what we call it in Florida. Anyway.
Yeah, it's different everywhere. They call it ACF
I know.
in California, and so it's different everywhere.
Yeah.
But all the same thing.
Right.
They took my kids. I had to fight for all of them back. I did get them all back, but one, I didn't get my son back. I had to sign my rights over for him, but they made me choose between him and his sister, my youngest.
That's strange.
Because I was pregnant with her at the time, and they told me that if I because it wasn't time for me to sign over my rights, I still had time to fight for him, because they make you sign a contract or a service contract with them, and they give you a certain amount of time to complete all these tasks they want you to complete.
Okay.
Well, my contract was not up yet, but I was sitting in jail, so they thought that was their time to go and swoop in and just, because they get a lot of money for these kids, and
Sure.
and so
It's an incentive.
Yeah. And so I was pregnant with my daughter at the time. My son was only a year and a half. And they told me that, because in the state of Texas, if you have your rights taken away for your child, pretty much in any way, it doesn't matter. It's all going to be neglect, but the way they see it. My kids weren't neglected, but how they saw it, they were,
Okay.
You can't have another child. You could have another child, you can give birth, but they're there to take it. The second you give birth, they're there to take that child. So you can't raise another child. So they told me that if I voluntarily signed him over that day, that they would let me keep my daughter. So I had to choose.
What an ultimatum. Lord Almighty.
I had to choose.
Well, I can't imagine that.
And so at the time when the dreams were happening, when I had that last dream, this is fast forward a few years, I had already signed my son over and everything, and he's already he's with family, but I'm not allowed to have anything to do with him or anything like that. My counselor had asked me one day, or he didn't ask me, he had told me, he's like, Melissa, he goes, it's okay to forgive yourself. He goes, you can forgive yourself for what happened with your son.
Mm.
because I carried a lot of guilt for, he's going to grow up one day and wonder why I didn't pick him. And
It's a fair question for him to ask.
and I told him that I don't not forgive myself because I don't feel like I don't deserve it, because I know I deserve it. I worked hard to, I think 3 out of 4 kids is damn good. Most people don't get their kids back once they get taken. That's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, it really is. I've
And
watched
so,
that firsthand going through the legal system,
yeah. So
helping
I
clients.
got 3 of them back, and I was, so I know I worked hard and I knew I deserved the forgiveness,
Right.
But for me, like I told my counselor, I don't not forgive myself because I don't deserve it. I don't forgive myself because that is the only thing that I have to hang on to my son with. I feel like if I fully forgive myself, that I'm letting him go, and I can't do that.
Wow. There's so many times where the trauma and the pain are our only connection.
Yeah. And I think every single time I was going through like a really hard time in my life, my dad always seemed to, because my dad was a hard man. He was very blunt, very,
Yeah.
he told you how things were, except for when he knew when to not, put his foot in his mouth. I guess you could say.
Sure. He knew when to soften up a little bit, but he was
Yeah.
straightforward.
And he was always there for me in those moments. Always.
Yeah.
I swear my dad could fix anything. In my eyes, he could always fix anything, And I think that's why he came to me in my dream that night, because he knew I needed it so badly. Because I was struggling with that so much. And I don't struggle with it so much anymore. I still hang on to my son no matter what, because I love it.
Yeah.
And I had to learn that, that I could love him and hang on to him and not hang on to this guilt, which is just going to drag me down, And so.
So in that moment, when you had this final dream, you traded guilt as the foundation for a relational connection for love.
Yep.
It's like, wow, I can hold on to my child despite these painful circumstances through love rather than through guilt. Man, and I think there's so many people who make that same trade. They're like, if I let go of my self-hatred, will I still have these relationships? Will I still have the things that are in my life right now? Like, what will I lose if I let go of this self-hatred, which has become such a part of maybe my identity and my relationships? So in that moment, you traded
it does
it for
become a
love.
part of your identity. And I think that's the reason why a lot of people get scared to let it go. And,
I think so too.
Yeah,
I think so too.
It definitely, it's a lot easier than what we think it is, though. It definitely is.
Yeah.
Because once you do it, you feel so much weight lifted off your shoulders that you didn't even think was there.
Mm-hmm. And there's only so much connection you can have if the connection is founded through guilt.
Right.
It's always a limited connection, but if it's love, then it can be so much more. And I think, I would say to those maybe who are listening to this that do hold on through guilt, it's like, if guilt really is the motivator, like let's just think about it for a second. If guilt really is the motivator, but holding on to someone through guilt limits your ability to fully be there for them. If you really do feel guilty and feel like you owe them everything, shouldn't you substitute for that for love, so you can be there in the complete way that they really deserve from you?
Correct. It also limits your connection with them. Like I can't have a connection with him physically, but with the guilt, that was blocking my connection with him spiritually.
Yeah.
Because
go ahead. I have a thought to add. I'm just so excited.
It definitely just puts, I don't know why guilt does that. It blocks a lot of, that's why a lot of people are like, well, I wonder why my loved ones haven't come to visit me, and that you're hanging on to guilt, or you're not, you're hanging on to something that is blocking that. And until you let that go, you're not going to be able, it won't happen. It just, the spirituality, to me, I don't think works that way. It's got to have a clear a clear path to you. And with all those roadblocks, there's no clear path.
Yeah. Well, and I think you're spot on, Melissa. The thing that people don't understand is that guilt is inherently selfish. They think it's altruistic. Like if I feel guilty and I'm always trying to serve this other person, I'm self-sacrificing for them, but it's just not true.
Right.
Guilt makes the focus turn inward. I'm focusing on my deficiencies and I'm trying to overcome my deficiencies by connecting with this other person. And so the eyes are inherently turned inward. And I'm certainly not diagnosing anybody, and certainly not you, but that's the misunderstood foundation of narcissism, right? Like when you
It
take a
is for sure,
narcissist and you put them in a room by themselves, and you quiet the voices of everybody else down, it gets really dark inside their minds. They're oftentimes very guilty. They're very ashamed. They're very self-critical. And so their narcissistic motivation and drive is to connect with others and be the best, and to have all eyes turned on them because, well, the guilt is exactly that. It's
Yep.
narcissistic in its own way. And I think a lot of people believe that they're being altruistic through guilt, and it's really just not the truth. I think guilt can be a defense mechanism because deep down we fear if we let go of guilt and just be the best that we can be, will we be enough?
Right. Well, not only that, when you feel guilty, like you said, it turns more into a selfish thing. You start feeling sorry for yourself. You feel sorry for yourself.
That
And
too.
and you cannot, what good is that going to do? Because you're just going to sit there and wallow in your own self-pity forever. That's not being productive. It's not going to let you connect with anybody that way. You got to do the work. You got to do the work. And it definitely is a lot, and it's definitely a lot of looking in at yourself, which is definitely hard to do, because nobody likes to look at their flaws. Nobody likes to
humility.
But to get past them and to do better for yourself, because you got to do better for yourself or you're not going to be good for anyone else.
That's right. That's right. But you're telling me that this is not the only dream that's been on your mind.
No.
Is are you having another one that's related to this, or is it totally kind of separate?
It's funny because I was reading after we had the show scheduled. Actually, I was reading where they say that one thing dreams cannot do is tell the future, right? I
wonder who says that. I wouldn't agree.
Well, I just read it. I read it somewhere. I was reading about dreams online, and it mentioned that somewhere, and I was like, I disagree with that, because let me tell you, when I had a miscarriage before my second daughter was born.
Okay.
So when I had my second daughter, she was very active. She was climbing out of her crib at 8 months old, climbing all the way to the top of the tree in our front yard at a year old. She was a very active child.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah. She's going.
Yeah, she was. And so, I used to have this dream after she was born. I would have this dream, and it was very vivid, very, like, so real. I mean, so real and detailed. I would wake up just frantic. I would have this dream that she would get hit by a car. She would get ran over by a car. I mean, and
hard.
it was detailed. It would show her. I mean, I don't want to
all the
go
gory
into
details.
Too much detail. Yes, it would.
Yeah. Okay.
And I would be at her side, and I'd be trying to save her and trying and I had this, and it was a different street all the time. It wasn't the same street. It was a different street all the time, and it'd be different people around.
Yeah.
But it was still the same thing, her getting hit or ran over by a car and her ultimately dying. And I had that dream until I think she was like 5 or 6 at the time.
Okay.
Let me tell you what happened one day. We were at a friend's house. We were at a friend's house, and there was this dog that came into the yard, and she was playing with the dog. And my friend did not have a fence around her yard. Well, I was sitting by the door so I could sit, watch her outside. And I heard this car, but I don't see a car coming. I kind of looked out the window, don't see a car coming. And I could hear this car. Well, then I look over at my daughter, and this dog is going to run across the street to the park, as she's going to follow the dog from in between 2 cars. And I just start yelling at the top of my lungs, stop. And the second she stopped, a car went zooming by. If she hadn't stopped, it would have definitely, And to me, I think I had that dream for that moment
I
to
can't,
keep
man.
that from happening,
Oh my
So,
gosh.
but
Because
it
I'm
was
a
weird
dad and
because
I
I
think about
heard
my
this
toddler.
car from a
Oh,
long way away, and there was no car, and then all of a sudden, it just
boom.
so I yeah, and I haven't had that dream
Yeah.
since then either. Yeah,
Yeah. Do so my thoughts about it are like when it comes to, do dreams predict the future? I think yes. I don't think anything really lives outside of time per se. I mean, I don't know. Maybe science will understand that we do have a connection to something outside of the space-time continuum because we know it's relative. So perhaps, but as a scientist, I can't say that yet because we haven't figured it out. But
right,
what I can say is that the brain is incredibly powerful
for sure.
and that oftentimes it will make predictions. And so here your brain is observing, I have a child who's very active. It is very likely they are so active that they will do something quickly and impulsively without realizing the danger and they'll get in trouble. Most likely that's going to be a car in the street. And so I think your brain was just being predictive about that. Now, I don't know if you believe in the spiritual side of things that some spirit outside of time was able to see this danger and warn you about it. I'll leave that to your own spiritual
Yeah,
interpretation. But I think even from psychology, we can answer that question. What do you think?
I definitely think that. I definitely agree with that. I couldn't say what spirit it was, but definitely it was pretty specific. For a car, I could see them, you know, making me aware I have an active child, keep an eye on them all the time, make sure,
Yeah.
but I mean, it was pretty specific to the dream. So
Like the car
and
was the
then
same?
the car was, I never saw the car that hit her in my dream.
Oh, okay.
It was like I was in a different area, like down the street or something when it would happen, and I
Mm.
would just go running over there, and I would see her lying there, and yeah, that's how that would happen. And but I just thought it was weird. I heard this car from way like 2 blocks away, and I kept looking out
This
the
is
window,
it.
but there was no car. And then all of a sudden, I see her running out into the street, and then that's when that car passes. And so
Wow.
yeah,
Wow. Glad she's okay.
me too, me too,
Oh
because
boy.
she was a tiny little girl.
Yeah,
So
for sure she was, for sure.
yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
You have a very active, well, subconscious mind and dream life. Yeah.
Yes.
Is there another one you want to share?
Um, Let me think of any other dreams I've had.
I just,
Okay, let
I
me
don't know
tell
what
you
you had
about
picked out for
predicting
our
the
time
future.
together. Okay,
My
okay.
my youngest daughter, I mean my oldest daughter, she got pregnant at a very young. She was 16 when she had her first my
Oh,
granddaughter.
yes, very young.
And that was during the time when I had lost custody of my kids. So my oldest daughter, my two oldest daughters were in New Mexico with my family.
Okay.
Um and I was still in Texas.
Yeah.
Well, I kept telling, 'cause my oldest daughter was staying with my mom, and I told my mom, make sure she's taking her birth control pills because she is madly in love with this boy that she was going out with, right? And I just didn't, I was like, I don't know. So I just had this
Gotta be
feeling. I just
careful.
had this feeling, what she was trying to do. So uh,
Mm.
my daughter wasn't always the brightest when it came to life decisions. She was very
Sure.
impulsive about those things. But
Same daughter? Same daughter?
no, this one's the older one.
The older
My
one. Okay. I was
Yeah.
wondering, is it the fast-paced, impulsive one? I was like, that makes sense.
No, 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 different. No,
Okay.
this one's the oldest one. She makes decisions on a whim without actually thinking um how whether it's a good idea or not. She'll
That
just
can
go
get
with
you in
it.
some
So
trouble.
right. So I told my mom to make sure she's taking her birth control pills well. My mom didn't stay on top of her like I wanted her to. She ended up pregnant. Well,
Mm.
I had this dream, um, and this was before I talked to my daughter because my mom was the one who told me she was pregnant because my daughter was afraid to tell me. She knew
Sure.
I was going to be mad. And so
Sure.
I had this dream after my mom had told me, my grandma, my mom's mom, had just passed away like
Okay.
a few months before that.
Yeah.
And in this dream, where all of us, like all us women, like my aunts, all my aunts, my mom, like all of us women used to all sit in the kitchen while my grandma would be cooking, and everybody would be talking and visiting. We'd all be talking and visiting and stuff. And that's the setting we were in. We were in my grandma's kitchen. And my grandma just kept saying, yeah, she's having a girl and she's going to be, and she's going to be, she's due on the 15th. Well, my daughter
That's
had a
very
girl.
specific.
My daughter had a girl and she was born December 15th.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
And I told my daughter when I finally talked to her after I found out she was pregnant, I said, well, I said, I know what you're having. I said, and I can even tell you when the baby's going to be born. She's like, when? I said, oh, I can't tell you like what month or, but I can tell you what day. I said, it's going to be a girl and she's going to be born on the 15th. And sure enough.
There it was. There it was.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I don't know. The brain is a crazy thing. And so, as far as we know, it's just really good at making predictions. Like, I mean, whatever you believe in, like the human being brain was, sort of adapted to notice patterns and then make predictions.
Yeah.
That's how we've survived so many things. And so I just think it has this uncanny ability when we turn off our analysis and we give it free reign to make pattern predictions. I think it's just really good at that. I don't know. Maybe there's a spiritual side to it.
If you pay attention to it, I mean, a lot of people call it intuition, but like I pay attention to a lot of patterns of stuff in life. And so like I've told people exactly what's going to happen and how it's going to happen. And they're like, how did you know that? How did you know that? And I'm like, well, if you pay attention to, the way patterns happen, the way things like how they say what goes around comes around or the, that's the reason why the world spins and,
history
stuff like
repeats
that.
itself.
History repeats itself, stuff like that. If you pay attention to those patterns, you can pretty much decipher what's going to happen. Sometimes we're not always right. Sometimes it'll, throw in a surprise, but I mean, that's how, and I guess maybe that is what they call your intuition. Maybe, I don't know.
That's the way that I would define it. So, I mean, I've got space for other people to have different interpretations, but that's sure what I think. I think it's pattern prediction.
Yep.
And I think that's one of the things that the brain is very skilled at doing.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Melissa, this has been fascinating. I've enjoyed learning about your subconscious and your dream life. I hope that gives you some answers about the dream about your dad and like gives you a deeper level of connection with him and the message that he left and what your subconscious learned from him. So I'm glad. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Is there anything else to shout out or add before we kind of wrap up today? Anything you want to let people know?
Just don't ever give up on yourself, I know life throws curveballs at you that you feel like you can't live through, but the last curveball you live through, so you can definitely live through that one too, and just take it one day at a time.
I love that.
Just don't ever give up on yourself.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Well, I appreciate you being, an encouragement for others to do the same thing, the way that you haven't given up on yourself in your life.
Thank you.
I appreciate the honesty, the vulnerability, the courage. And for anybody else who has interesting dreams, confusing dreams that you're looking to learn more about, listen, I'd love to have you on the show next. The application's down below this video. Just put your name in there and you could be just like Melissa talking with me about dreams and get some deeper insight into, both the emotions and the thoughts that your subconscious mind is trying to share. But until next time, take care. See you then. Bye.